Excellent pronunciation, and thank you very much, Treb. I am, of course, joined by the mid laner and the jungler, of course, Power of Evil, and amazing, fantastic series, guys. 3-0, way to close it out. Power, you had a particularly dominant performance, but this team altogether did excellent, amazingly, and, sorry, the pun. I want to know, did you guys really expect it to be that quick and that clean?
Well, so from our scrims performance, I think in the last 1-2 weeks we performed way better, and I think we I just felt we had better synergy, better calling. Like I knew what I need to do more than the weeks before, so for me it pretty much clicked way better. I'm
glad you brought that up. I mean, that has been something that we've been expecting to see from you guys, and we saw it finally start to come out towards the end of the split. And now 3 games, excellent performance, amazing. This team, you guys seem to have clicked together even better in playoffs. Is that something that is just a playoff thing, or now you guys have it all in your head?
I think we're better now than we were during the regular season because it actually matters now. So there's like this intensity factor that's coming in, especially from a team that has been towards the semifinals and everything like that. I think expecting them to perform to the other best during the regular season is kind of weird because it's not the same kind of intensity that you can bring during every regular season game that you can bring towards Worlds. So I think now that it actually matters, we care more and we're actually happy playing. So I suppose that's coming in. But this series in particular, I think that Unicorns were just outmatched to a certain extent, and I think they were the weakest team of the 6 teams that were actually qualified for playoffs. So I wouldn't put too much emphasis on this particular series.
All right, well, still fair enough, and you guys did play it out very cleanly. Power, for you in particular, you got to play some signature champions. Your Oriana coming back. It always seems to work its way back in. Tell me a little bit about the choices that you guys have picked up, those champions as a team, and how you really have adapted that style into the way Origin's able to play.
Well, so I think a huge factor was watching Pekka play scrims, because I learned way more about communication, about way more map awareness, so I'm kind of more aware of where to stay, even lane swaps. You know, I'm learning a lot from just watching the games, and we pretty much changed the playstyle a little bit more to like control mages on me, and I can play a few assassins if needed. As example, today I think Ori, Azir, and Lulu was banned or something, so we thought about just taking the LeBlanc for sideline pressure, and it worked out as well.
I'm glad it worked out for you guys in total. So now you're going to be going on to Rotterdam. But before that, of course, semifinals coming up. H2K, amazing. Do you have, I don't want to say a prediction, but do you have any idea how you think that one will shake out?
It's quite hard to say. I think H2K is really strong, and we scrimmed against them. We saw how strong they were. So we have kind of an estimate about what we got up against, but I don't want to like name myself anywhere and just say we're going to 3-1 them, 3-0 them or something like that. I think it's going to be a good series, and that's all I can say.
Fair enough. So I'll direct the last one then to you, of course, Power. So basically same thing. Do you think that this magic that you guys have finally found to click together will be enough to put you over H2K?
I think we will see, but I think we can make it, yeah.
All right, well, expecting great things from you. And once again, GG, gentlemen, thanks for joining me here. You can go back and join your team. For now, though, we're going to send it back to the analyst desk to break that down and wrap up the day.
Thank you so much, Pyra. And we have Mithy here with us as well. First off, congratulations is in order.
Thank you, and sorry for my hair. I came to play today, not to the analyst desk, so kind of didn't really.
I think it looks fine.
Being honest, being honest.
Thank you.
Well, you did come to play. I want to jump on something that Amazing said in the interview. He says not to emphasize this series too much because the UOL looked out of sorts, because we had the impression that you guys also at times were struggling still a bit. So I'd love to get your view on it.
Yeah, we just played really bad. So hopefully we look at these games as warm-up, fix our mistakes, and maybe put off a good game against H2K. I think H2K play way more clean, and it will also make us play clean, I think. I think it goes both ways.
Yeah. No, I really think like Unicorn, they had the lead in 2 games, right? Like,
yeah.
If you throw 2 games where you have the lead, I think like you can be happy of your performance because you won in the end, but you want to win from the beginning to the end. And it means that the early game was a little bit
also the fact that we fall behind at the beginning makes the games go a bit animalistic, I would say, you know, because you wanna trade blow for blow, blow for blow, blow for blow, so you kind of like not let them get a lead, but instead like keep the lead equal, and eventually at some point maybe one of those blows comes harder on your side, and you kind of stabilize. So whenever you're falling behind, you want these kind of games.
Yeah, I agree. Like this is something that comes like if you have 2k gold disadvantage at 15 minutes and 2k gold at 35 minutes, and the 2k at 35 minutes is irrelevant. So I like this mindset.
I feel like, though, this is something we have heard before when teams play against unicorns of love.
Yeah.
Where often the games end up being unicorns constantly looking for like TP fights instead of actually playing side lanes. They always want to TP into mid, fight you guys over and over. How difficult is it, I guess, in a sense, to adjust to it if you normally just want to play a more clean game and then suddenly you have to like constantly fight over and over, or was it easy enough?
You just have to use your brain, honestly. Like, you know they're gonna do it. It's what their comp revolves around. I think with GP it was a bit different because we didn't really get so much scrim practice against GP, so it was kind of like everything was a bit messy. But usually when they have double TP, like the first game, what you want to do is just know that they can TP. Talk for wards, you know, everyone has to communicate about where the wards are and so on, and just play maybe with 3 scans and just really like be aware that they can double TP, know how long you can push and know what they can do before you do something yourself.
I also think, sorry,
go ahead.
I wanted to jump on this because I think the Unicorn plays a good 1-3-1. They even show it, they won against H2K thanks to that.
Debatable.
Yeah,
I think they're too aggressive in looking for fights instead of actually playing side lane without pressure.
Not in this series.
Sure.
And I would also say that it comes down with GP pick, because obviously in the game 3 you banned, you picked Trundle Poppy first rotation when they picked Alistar, so you obviously get the better matchup top lane, so Soaz gets like happy in the way. And in the second game, where like Soaz gets Poppy and you face GP, even if like GP is ahead, he will obviously punish Poppy, but this is not how the game is meant to work at 20 or 25 minutes. You usually look for a TP play with your advantage, sending him the wards, but what can GP do? We even saw at the moment, GP just TP'd on Sven with the Jhin, and he couldn't do anything. He tried to barrel, and then he couldn't do anything. So I think this champion, if they had like Maokai or any other champion tanks, would have helped a little bit more in this game 2 against Origen.
The main thing with GP is the fact that you can use your tanky top laner to like basically run away from him. Don't let him farm so much, maybe lane swap into him. So both top laners are kind of starved, and then just kind of use the whole TP pressure and whole tanky situation before he scales. But we kind of failed to get an advantage early game with that, so it became really hard, right? But if you have an advantage early game and they're playing GP at top, and there's a lane swap, for example, and both top laners are kind of starved, GP is pretty useless.
Obviously, you still have to play the semifinals, so I don't want to make you kind of talk too much about possible strategies, but why in this series specifically did you guys not elect to ever go for the double teleport yourselves?
I don't know. The series was 3-0, so it was like it was kind of hard for us to. We just pick stuff and it works. So why change it?
Why change it?
Classic pick and ban strategy.
I think 1-3-1 is the most face roll strategy there is.
Yes.
So everyone can play it. I think that's what everyone just played for the whole split. That's how we started to win games ourselves. So right now we're trying to play more around control mages, more around just like not having this double TP situation and playing around it, because normally you should win fights if you have the control mage or just a stronger mid lane champ that doesn't really TP behind you and you control the TP flanks, you will win the fights. But it's really hard to pull off, and it's obviously much harder than face rolling. But that's kind of what we were practicing and didn't really show so well that we're playing really clean. But yeah.
But according to you, now that you guys are playing this style, and we noticed it during the games, Unicorns obviously always sitting on side lanes, you guys trying to find groups basically, but it's very difficult because if you group at a wrong time, they push down 2 side lanes and you guys can't do anything. What is it exactly then you're looking for? Like, what is that makes it so difficult, and how do you maybe solve the situation? Like, how do you actually get that team fight?
You don't really team fight. I mean, since you're they're on side lanes, right?
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that we can't be on side lanes ourselves. What all it means is that whenever they push, whenever we push in we push in a side lane, we can go mid, and whenever they push in a side lane, we have to take care mid. So we just have to not always play brainless, but actually play careful at certain times. And as long as you do that, it should be fine. Like LeBlanc has a summoner advantage over Corki, so it's overall not too bad, and LeBlanc can go mid. And when you're playing stuff like Orianna or Azir, you have maybe your AD, maybe the Orianna, maybe the Azir on the side lane, and as soon as you push in the side lane, you walk on mid again, and then you have like this moment where you're grouped up. It's as simple as that, and you don't really need to force fights. Like, fights come to you if you have the control over a certain objective, like Nash, for example. I
just think like in the 1-3-1 by Seimiti is really true, unless I think Lissandra is the only counter of that in a certain way.
Lissandra
because she wants to push she wants to push the wave, And then after, she actually wants to TP. She's not like Zed or like maybe LeBlanc in a certain way where she goes on the side and wants to kill. Because if then after you go for a 3-1-1 with like, for example, let's say you play Varus in the mid lane, he will clear the wave against everyone, or Azir will clear the wave. Meanwhile, Lucian or like any support and jungle will play around this Zed or LeBlanc and then will deny. They cannot kill, LeBlanc cannot kill those guys. So then after you will push and it will be fine to play this against 1-3-1. But Lissandra is the only champion where even if you get pushed, then it's fine, just push me. But then after, if you do one mistake, I'll TP and I kill all of you.
Yeah,
so I like the third ban.
When you play against Lissandra, you need to be very careful. Like you need to be very vocal about where the TP wards are and what side you want to kite the fight to, because the TP got nerfed. It's 3-second teleport timer, and as long as you see where the TP is coming from, it's not too bad. But even then, it's like it's so much easier for them to get the right fight than for us to outplay the fight. But if you outplay the fight, it's over. So it kind of. It's like I said, it's really hard to pull off, but if you pull it off, come out ahead.
Well, before we came into this week, we talked a lot about Azir obviously possibly being that must pick, must ban. And yesterday we had the developments that you said also just quite hard to execute at points. Is Lissandra now absolute #1 in your regards? Is it Poppy? I mean, of course, there's still people playing here next week, so maybe you should get
I mean, I think if we look at just on stage, it's something, Sean, you've talked so much about how hard it is to execute certain comps on stage compared to scrims. Lissandra is a more easy and safe strategy on stage. We're playing the 1-3-1 and then have TP flanks, basically as your main way of playing the game. I think she's a fantastic pick right now. I think actually the ban you guys had in the last game was very smart against it, because you guys were going to play the LeBlanc anyway after you saw the 3 mid lane bans. I'm not sure that was called early, but you guys wanted to play the 1-3-1 anyhow.
I don't want to talk about
Yeah,
You don't want to talk pick and bans, that's fine.
Nice try, by the way.
Still, with the Lissandra, she's just fantastic safe right now. And honestly, I think she's one of the strongest picks. Azir, of course, on paper, is insane, but he is hard to execute, as you guys talked
I
about.
think every champ is honestly, Lissandra is not easy to execute. You need to have the balls, to get the TP,
what we
get
just
the home
talked about, what we just talked
also
about,
get the ward. So
safer strategy.
yeah,
basically.
safer strategy. I agree. I think overall, both of these champions are probably the 2 strongest. But yeah, in general, I think there's not like an super OP champ. Like I think both champs can be played around, but it's hard.
Why do we see this? But
Just want to show some kills.
Yeah, there's
team
just
losing.
Like, wow, Lissandra. Okay, Lissandra. Wow.
Chance.
Fabian was actually a god in this fight. Like, he played really, really well.
Why didn't you guys play Lissandra?
All right, so the idea is like Azir and Corki should win against Lissandra in lane. So in scrims, this matters a lot. In practice, this matters a lot, right? Like in theory, when you win mid lane, then in the mid game it's easier. In stage, maybe like it's way harder to take like really big decisions. Say, okay, guys, just push. Like Lissandra's on the side. Even if Azir wins a little bit or Corki against Lissandra, once the game starts, it's way more easier to play 1-3-1 while you have a control mage, because Lissandra will move, and then you will see Lissandra will say, oh, you have 30 seconds to do so. And then you see again Lissandra pushing, and they're like, we have to put someone over there, and you lose the pressure down. So it's just easier.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with you. And I think that overall everyone plays a bit safer on stage, so it makes snowballing early game a bit harder.
Yeah. Talking about playing on stage, playoff buff, all that. We have to crown an MVP, and with the semi-final spot rather on the line. Soaz went big to help Origen secure a trip to Rotterdam. 61% kill participation, 4.6 KDA. All of that actually doesn't matter that much, because obviously Sven seems like the obvious choice here, and maybe Power stepping up. But Soaz is someone that we've criticized so harshly in the spring split, and he definitely delivered.
I think also for a lot of people, there were like 2 specific matchups you were looking at. 80 carry matchup with Steelbike against Sven. This one, very even, honestly, in the games. Both Steelbike and Sven had great games. But then also Chachi versus Soaz up in the top lane. And obviously, he got Poppy twice, which is great for him. But he honestly had a great series. Like in team fights, he was doing extremely well. He made like 1 mistake in the first game where he stepped out too far. But I feel like that's more on the team, actually having him in the wrong lane where he's pushing out instead of receiving a wave, and he gets ganked and dies. Outside of that, he played, honestly, a very clean game for a top lane.
Let's ask Smithy.
Yeah, definitely. I think he played pretty good. So
pretty good.
Give him
Pretty
props
good.
for that. Yeah.
Really good, you mean?
Yeah, he played good. He played good.
Okay. I just think also that we have a special mention for Steelback for me, because obviously, well, it's not because there are 2 French players, no, but just because like he plays really well, And I think like out of this, he was pulling out like always like getting the limit out of not getting caught, like always like try to get something, and we never see him doing those 3 games saying, "Oh, still back, why are you doing that?" Always having way more farm than Sven, especially in 1 or 2 games, and just like not throwing. So he was just playing well.
Yeah, I agree. He was pretty annoying when he was like in the series in terms of like how he played like to the limit a bit with Lucian dashing in and so on. So that was kind of annoying, but it's what he's supposed to do. So he just played well overall. It's hard to praise him for just like you know he didn't do anything crazy either. So he just played well overall, and he was not too passive or anything like that. So overall, I think he played well.
Yeah.
So we had the awards, obviously putting Steelback as the #1 AD carry from a lot of the voters. I actually want to hear, because I personally think Forgiven was my #1, then Sven actually came in as the second one, just on my personal list. I want to hear from you guys. Who do you actually think, if there is, obviously we are in a meta or in a part of this game where it's not about one individual player anymore, it's about the team. But do you guys think Steelback has performed well enough to be considered the best AD carry in Europe?
I mean, I think there's a top 2, and then there's like AD carries. I think there's like, you can't compare Sven or Forgiven to anyone else, in my opinion.
I agree on that one.
I would answer Yarnan.
I disagree from looking at last.
Because
I wouldn't put Yarnan in my top 3 right now.
Because I would get flamed, but theoretically, then I think like Forgiven and Sven were a little bit like showing up because of the way they're playing, and I think they're really good. I just want to protect my player, because even if we lose, I still love them.
Definitely, obviously. Support-wise, though, this is actually something that we noticed throughout the series. Hillisang, we looked at Vizicachi and Hillisang as kind of pillars of the UOL. We feel that he underperformed this series. How did you directly notice it in game as well, without, of course, flaming him? But sometimes it seemed that he wasn't that initiator at the right times like he usually is for UOL.
No, he was not like, I mean, he played fine, he played good, but I don't think he played too good or was like very annoying or anything crazy. I think that the only support right now that is good is Vander, and everyone else is like, they're good, you know, they do some stuff, but they're like not consistently there, being annoying and controlling vision, setting up everything for their team and so on. And I think that, I mean, I couldn't showcase so much because I was playing Trundle. So
nice champ.
we will see. I think it's a really strong pick. So when I go on a playmaking champ, I think I play pretty good, and I do all that I talked about. I think that if I was on Hillisang's position, I would have done more. So I overall think that Hillisang played very well, but I just feel like in terms of like who's top tier support, I think Vander gets the praise here.
Also, yeah, there is something, when we talk about support, we always have to mention jungle, because there's a jungle support synergy that goes on. When you say your plan, you want to go between this lane and these lanes. And I think, yeah, Amazing and you, apart from one game, I think game 1 where Kindred, Amazing was playing a Kindred that got caught because 2 like overextending into the division. But I think you guys played pretty well in terms of communication. Obviously, I don't know what was the reason, but I think you guys are on point to setting up some wards. Even if you are behind, it's really important that you guys keep on the communication to the division rather than Lulex and Hillisang showing up less and less.
I think that overall, me and Maurice don't really tag together so much. It's like, I don't know if it's bad or it's good.
That's how I felt. I mean,
maybe.
when you
can
were
say it to the
watching,
camera, it's fine.
I hate you.
Oh, you're actually making him do this.
No, but overall, I feel like we tag way less than last year, but it's also because of how the situation, like, it's not like we're like tagging on purpose. It's like, come here, let's go together. But it just kind of happens naturally right now. So sometimes I don't even notice if I'm tagging with him or not. So
it's true love.
I think if there's like stats or anything that says how long we're together, but I think we play a lot more apart, but together at the times where we feel we should be together. So I'm not really sure.
You guys are really high on the gravity of jungle support together, I remember.
H2K is highest though. Vander and Jankos together.
Yeah, they tag a lot, but I think they tag too much. Judging from scrims, I think that maybe they tag a bit too much.
But what is the difference between the jungle support synergy now compared to, let's say, last year where you guys made it to Worlds? And that was one of the big highlights, obviously, you and Amazing together.
So it sounds it's gonna sound bad, right? But the truth is that no one tagged together, so we tagged, and it was like, whoa, these guys are so good, you know. But now everyone is tagging together, so there's nothing impressive about it. But what happened last year was that me and Amazing were together because we analyzed like some other games from other teams, other regions, and we saw, hey, every team is like tagging together here, and it creates a lot of pressure. It's really good. And then we started doing it, and no other team was doing it, and it just kind of sucked for them, you know.
That's how it goes. When you're ahead of the curve without even noticing it, then you just do it. Like it reminds me a bit when you pick like for example,
Nasus.
Like Nasus. All right, then we can go. For this one. Now I was thinking about like all these champions, like for example Queen, like Victor was picked, Corki was, maybe Corki, but all the static mage, and we abused a bit about Mortius and mobility from Queen. We just won 3 games, right? So it's a bit like that. I really like when you notice something and you're ahead of the curve, then you just pull it off. Then people will adapt to you, and you still get ahead of the curve, and this is why you're a good team.
We'll see who is ahead of the curve when we go into the semifinals. The quarterfinals are behind us, so let's take a look at the bracket as it is filled in. Fnatic will be going up against G2, and OG will face H2K in those semifinals. That means that all 4 of those teams will be going to Rotterdam to play either the final match or the 3rd place match as well. Let's talk G2 versus Fnatic first.
No, if this is Fnatic Origin final, I call scripted again.
But Chance, after playing Fnatic yesterday, obviously, how much of a chance do you give them?
I think they have a decent shot. Not saying they're favorite, obviously, because they won against us and we play pretty bad. So G2 will be a different story. But I don't know. I think there is something in Fnatic's like playoff bonus maybe. But that shows that they can still be a top contender and they can actually show up. However, I think G2 is a bit underestimated because they are still, in theory, a new team, challenger team. Wow, they outperformed, but they did this, but in the end, they're really good. So, and G2, what they had in strength compared to the other team at the beginning is that they were ahead of the meta. They had this really good picks, really good strategy. Then now, I'm really looking forward to see what they're capable to pull off, but I would give my win maybe to G2 in this game.
I think G2 matches up better against Fnatic than what Vitality did in the current meta, because Vitality was a lot about Capo Shot, being a big carry, winning his lane. In a tank meta, it kind of gets nullified quite a lot unless you get maybe a Trundle pick into a big tank, which we don't see because it was banned away by Fnatic every time. With G2, Kikis is not the man who's winning the games. You put him on a tank like you put Gamsa on a tank. They'll just go even against each other. And then mid lane, Febiven actually outplayed Nukedog and was a big carry in this. Perks will match up much better against them. And I think the 2v2 on bottom side is won by Hybrid and Emperor. So I actually feel like G2 will match up a lot better against Fnatic and probably also play the same style. Carry junglers for both Trick and Spirit. Mid laners going very even, probably even sharing champion pool. And then there's a winning bot lane, I feel, 2v2. If it is a 2v2 for G2.
I don't think so. Unless Hybrid and Emperor play much better on stage than they do online. I think the bot lane matchup is pretty equal, and I think it's gonna
scrims?
No, I haven't scrimmed G2, but just from past games and so on, I feel like overall it's just gonna be a tank matchup bot. I think that both teams are gonna play tanks or Thresh. Most likely, it's probably gonna be like contested between them. I've seen Clay play a lot of Thresh. G2. I'm here. I'm not leaking anything. I haven't scrimmed against G2. And I'm just judging from the Fnatic games before anyone flames me. So judging from what I see, I think either there's going to be a Thresh contested pick or there's going to be tank against tank and the matchup is going to be equal.
You guys ban Thresh?
We ban Thresh, yeah.
But I don't know about
Jack of all trades, master of none is what you said on the desk 2 weeks ago.
But it's also about comfort picks.
Yeah, and also like something we didn't pull out, obviously I don't want you, Mitty, to explain why, but we saw always ban Ryze. Because obviously Vici Jachi played a lot of Ryze in the previous weeks. We saw it in Korea, and I think this champion appeared at the end of the 2-week scrims and practice from the EU LCS. So maybe you want to talk a little bit about why this Ryze ban?
I don't really want to
talk about I think we should change the topic here.
You don't want to share anything.
But you had a lot of truth in what you said.
Oh my god, I was so close.
It is very strong.
Staying on the same matchup though, we're talking about top lane, we're talking about jungle. We're forgetting about Perks versus Febiven, because if we look at the quarterfinals, how they played out now, even over in NA yesterday, Bjergsen with TSM putting so much pressure on the map. Febiven doing a lot to help Fnatic get to that spot. How important will that matchup be? Because I feel like the meta is also shifting towards a place where they can have so much influence and maybe be an important carry, even though it is very team-oriented right now.
I think that the Fnatic versus G2 matchup, this mid lane matchup is probably going to be the matchup of the year. I think, sure, we're going to have our game, sure, there's going to be finals, but I really believe that this matchup is going to be the most hyped one ever, because I feel like both players share the exact same champion pools. Both play Zed, both play Lissandra, both play Azir, both play Ahri, both play Corey, both play everything. And they're both really good 1v1. And I think that it's not going to be 1v1 game. I don't think there's going to be solo kills. But what I think is going to be is like one team picks Lissandra, one team picks Azir or something like that. And then there's going to be who plays what strategy better and who makes the most out of their champion in that strategy. So I think the game is going to be a lot clean, very clean, and just overall, I think it's gonna be very, very close.
Yeah, one team gonna get the edge of the other, and it will be done. Like every time, I think that there will not be that much of a throw. And also, we didn't talk that much, but we have like Spirit versus Trick. Trick got the MVP. Like now he's playing farming jungler. He's playing like all those Kindred, Graves, all the champion.
Korean jungler.
Spirit best champion is Graves, is Kindred. So once again, like they're sharing the same identities, which will show like a great match. Obviously,
I think Trick is better though. I really just think that Trick has more faces towards his playstyle. I think that Spirit usually, or from what I have seen, plays Kindred, plays Graves, likes to farm a lot, likes to be a carry jungler, and then just like play towards that. But I think that Trick can do what Spirit does and change his style into a more Gragas, Lee Sin style, where he is the one playmaking, the tanky guy. I think Trick could show us more faces.
I mean, Spirit can do that too. We saw at IM. He's still very comfortable on those picks.
On the Lee Sin, yes. I think his Gragas was very bad when he's played it in the past, at least. He did really well when he got to play Kindred Graves for him. But I just wonder with these two teams now facing each other in the semi-final. Like, we have H2K as the only other team, really, we haven't seen now and even talked about. You guys have obviously scrimmed a lot against him. You played against him in the LCS. Do you think H2K are a step above Fnatic and G2 right now?
I can't judge for G2 because I haven't really played against them, but from what I have heard and from what I have experienced against H2K, I think they're the stronger team.
Yeah, and we also, as Vitality, we didn't practice against H2K neither, so I'm assumption. But I think they're like the strongest team, and they're actually like showing up, not only online, but also offline, and the offline matters. And yeah, that's what we expect from them. Like, I hope they are not choking, or they're not like just going like 0-3 for unknown reason, and just Origen gets the lead.
I mean, he probably hopes for it, yeah.
But I hope that they get, yeah, obviously, but I hope they get a good show, that they had a good season, and they are showing up too, so that it goes to great BO5 match. So this game, maybe I won't give the edge to H2K because like they have like this control and this vision, and then after like Forgiven seems to always find to sneak something, get a turret there, and then they get the lead somehow. And yeah, I just like their attitude during the games, but I still think Origen can put a good fight.
Thanks.
But what is it, you know, H2K is doing so extremely well compared to some of the other teams? Like, if just from a player point of view, Mithy.
From my point of view?
Yeah.
So their TP flanks are much smoother. I think that the wards and the wards they get, how they TP, how consistent they are at doing it is mirroring Fnatic's level of TP like on their 1-3-1 strategy, and overall their consistency at clearing vision, playing for one side, not overextending, and just like snowballing the game whenever they have a lead is basically what makes them a good team. But in general, the game right now becomes about getting a lead, either lane swap, either 1v1, 2v2, and then just like getting the first 3 auto towers, and then just getting this Nash bait with a good TP play. That's how 1-3-1 is played. Nash bait into a good TP play, and then as soon as you get Nash, or as soon as you win one fight and you get Nash, the game is over. So basically what H2K is good at is this whole consistency around playing double TP, or just like a flanking champion in mid.
All right, I do hear that our colleagues over in NA are almost set up. I do want to touch on a quick prediction then. Who's winning the playoffs, the Fish Show, after what you've seen so far?
Origen.
H2K wins playoffs. I think they're going to beat Origen, probably in 3-1, and then win the final as well.
All right.
I would say H2K too, but I'm looking forward for this obvious Fnatic Origen that's going to come.
Yeah. And who wins then?
Fnatic. Fnatic always win. I mean, this is scripted, right?
Oh, it's scripted. It's scripted.
Whatever happens, Fnatic always win in the end.
All right, a lot of praise here for H2K, even though we don't know actually nothing about how, besides having Jankos on the desk, we haven't seen them, but we trust him probably, apparently.
Not Jankos.
For that spot for MSI as well, and talking about the fight for that, another international update over in the CIS's LoL Continental League. Hard Random have taken the Spring Championship in 4 games. You know Smurf and Kira from All-Stars, and they'll be joining INTZ, Supermassive, and Latin America South Isurus Gaming at the IWCI, which is the qualifier for MSI as well. And there's still 4 regions yet to crown a champion. Origen could also be going to MSI.
Yeah.
How big are those chances?
I don't know. They're pretty okay.
I don't think they're too
low. I don't think they're too low.
Different kind of player on the desk here. Before he was like, you know, if you make it playoff, we're pretty happy. It's not working out. Now it's like maybe MSI.
I mean, it really wasn't working out at all, and I don't know if it's working out now or not, but I think everyone kind of stepped up and gave more energy for playoffs, so I'm pretty happy about that. Just in general, it's a bit disappointing that we stepped out for playoffs and not like at least a bit more in the split, you know. But yeah,
You have another split to do that.
we will see.
The guys over in NA are almost ready. I quickly do want to touch on some tweets that we got in because we did invite you to ask the desk at Boss ICI tweeted at Sean's. Do you think Azir is a worthy first pick? Wow.
Nice flame.
That's
Because we actually
oh.
did it 2 times in a row and we lost 2 games. Just saying that if you play correctly Azir in the 3-1-1 and then you manage to push the enemy, if you are really good at Azir comp, then you can win a game. But I think, once again, and on stage, 1-3-1 is easier if you manage to pull it off.
All right. Another tweet is from @BrotherBlock. First Dragon or first Rift? Herald, what do you think takes priority in the meta? You mentioned actually, Sean, that you think Herald has in Europe at least
100%.
has huge priority.
I think Riot should buff Dragon a little bit because we maybe
You're very unique in that
have
opinion.
something. We maybe have something to like create something else, because otherwise when there is Herald and Dragon, maybe I'm misunderstanding, but I think Dragon is irrelevant.
Yeah.
I think there was throughout our whole comms in this game, I think there was like for the first 10 minutes at some point someone was like Dragon, and everyone was like, nah, Dragon is useless.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically it. Take the Rift Hill and use it to snowball onto towers and push side lanes.
Thank you very much, and that must answer your question, sir, as well. Now, 2016 Spring Playoffs continue next week with our first semi-final clash between H2K and Origen. You actually don't get that much time.
Boring.
Our coverage begins at 5 p.m. Central European Time, 8 a.m. Pacific, and will be followed by the first North American semi-final between CLG and the winner of today's quarterfinal. So that will be Team Liquid or Energy. What do you guys think it's going to be? We're going over in just a sec.
Liquid.
Liquid for you?
Who is Energy? NRG?
NRG.
NRG.
And-
GBM.
GBM,
Nah,
Impact.
they're gonna lose. They're just there for
I mean,
holidays.
in CSGO, Liquid got 2 times, came back after 15 rounds, so again, Energy will win.
All right,
Wow.
we'll see what happens. Thank you so much, Shans, for being on the desk, Mithy for
Pleasure.
joining us, and we will see you all next week as we continue the road to Rotterdam. Bye-bye.
See ya.